tea time! You know, when it comes to, like, say, you know, gadgets in Doctor Who, one that has always been really prevalent would be the sonic screwdriver. And, you know, it has had a wide variety of changes and, you know, changes in hands. You know, like, say, different versions of it from different iterations of the character. So, you know, that's what we're going to try to look at, too. The many different versions of the sonic screwdriver. But before we do that, you know who we are. I bet you do. We are... For you! So, yeah, when it comes to the sonic screwdriver, it has been a gadget that has been able to use for, like, say, opening doors, like, you know, turning off devices, you know, activating things from where, like, you know, doing a lot of a variety of different objectives that the, you know, like, the writer's saying, hey, it can do that now. Here's one thing, when it comes to, like, say, certain, like, knowledge that we know and all that stuff, there hasn't really been, like, an indication or, like, you know, idea of, like, say, hey, did the first Doctor ever have one? But we can say that the second Doctor did. And, like, the way it looks, though, for this version of it, is it's sort of like a pin light.
This is a sonic screwdriver. Now, where can I demonstrate? Ah, that revolver will do. It's all right. There we are. And back it goes. Fantastic!
You know, introduced in Fury from the Deep, and it was also, like, you know, introduced in War Games. It had, like, a sleeker pin look, and it was able to use pulling pins. It also cut through walls and performed a variety of other things that needed to be done. But, yeah, the one thing it also did was that there was a version of the Sonic that was used as a recorder. You know, he had his signature recorder second. But yeah, that's something else, though. You're probably wondering, like, say, well, okay, was there different versions of the Sonic that multiple Doctors did, since, you know, the second one had, like, one? Well, the third, fourth, and fifth Doctor, their Sonics were actually very similar. They might have, like, had, like, a little bit of, like, a difference in that, you know, like, hey, there might have been a little bit more red.
Look out. Look, there's one over there.
When it came to, like, say, this, like, little bit of, like, say, what would it be, like, a jewel, not a jewel, but some kind of, like, little gadget right there. There was always, like, some little similarity to it. But yes, like, say, both 3, 4, and 5 had a similar Sonic that they would have and would carry around.
Even the sonic screwdriver won't get me out of this one.
What ended up happening was, for the fifth Doctor, his ended up getting destroyed in a way. So, yeah, like, in a way, the fifth Doctor was the one whose Sonic would, in a way, be changed. Doctor, he, in a way, used something known as a Sonic Lance, and carried a standard Sonic, like, screwdriver outside of TV canons. So, anyway, like, it wasn't, like, you know, a Sonic that wasn't being used until the 7th Doctor for Paul McGann in the TV series, the TV film.
A sonic screwdriver, thank you.
And yes, it sort of looks almost, the 7th Doctor, his one looked almost similar to the, like, the second Doctor's, the third Doctor's, in that it had, like, a little, like, almost like a little jewel in the center of it. So it's almost similar, but it had more of a sleeker, silver look to it. Yes, I know, this does not look good. And, also, but one thing that ended up happening, though, was that the War Doctor, because, you know, the 8th Doctor would be the one who would regenerate into the War Doctor, he would in a way continue using that version of the Sonic. It had, like, say, a similar look to it, but it had, like, almost the same. But the 8th Doctor, he also, McGann, who, like, was mostly known to be in the comics and as well audio dramas, he had his own as well. Sort of a different look though. He ended up make his own by hand, and that's actually pretty cool. So it has, like, you know, like a more of a magical, like, he's a guy who makes it with his own hands. So that's a pretty cool idea. Yeah, I think you'd like say the little crystal of it looks pretty cool. It has a little more science vibe of it. And then, like, say when it comes to Sonics, they would in a way be carried over to character or Doctor. Both the 9th and 10th Doctor had used the same screwdriver. So for the one thing to make is very, you know, different though is both the 9th Doctor and the 10th Doctor, they use both the same screwdriver.
Some friends traveling with me.
Let him try.
Do that.
Stand back, let me blast him.
Oh, I'll never see you again.
And basically it's passed down. The 9th Doctor, Sonic, in a way, you know, help, you know, say, hey, this is a trusty gadget. For more than the previous in Ray, because, you know, this was the revival, this is when it came back. It had a great little handle, its sliding head, and it also had more of, like, say, importance in the show as a, you know, a gadget that could be used as a mechanism or plot device.
Logo.
You know, it can almost affect almost anything affected by electricity or sound, so long as its target isn't deadlock sealed. Say the 9 and 10's Sonic, it's really pretty cool. It's a fairly awesome looking Sonic. So then we would go to 12's.
It's been for thousands of years.
This Pandoric.
But I haven't yet. No.
Doing it!
Matt Smith's Sonic, and I always think this one is pretty cool. It has a bit of a green crystal on top of it, with, like, say, almost a bit of a claws that are trying to reach out for it. And yeah, I think if you started with a 12, this is a Sonic that you probably really well that you probably know a lot about, and that, like, you know, it has, like, say, that golden handle for it. It has that little, I don't know, like, the aesthetic for it is really, really cool. I think it was also the one that I had, like, when I was in college, I had actually bought a Sonic from, like, I think it was, like, Hot Topic, or maybe it was Spencer's. Even one of those stores, I bought one of those. But that was always one that I always thought was pretty cool. I think about that one. And it was also fairly, you know, has a very science fiction look. Because, I don't know, it looks like something from Jules Verne almost.
Then you shoot, Doctor. Her injuring back anyone from...
You need to learn to
I still think that when it comes to 13, hers is pretty cool. Because, anyway, she ended up making hers. Because she had her own sequence in which she made her own Sonic. That is pretty cool. At least I feel like that is pretty cool. That you end up making your own Sonic. In the episode, The Woman Who Fell from Earth. So, like, you know, instead of being given to one from the TARS, it was just, you know, she had to make it herself. From a metal shop. 12th Doctor, his Sonic is pretty cool. It had for 12 Sonic, his ended up getting destroyed at first, but one thing that happened was that he eventually got blinded, so he ended up using Sonic's sunglasses. for a bit, before he would eventually go back to using his Sonic. His was original and unique to him in that it created homemade crystalline vibes. Hey, crystalline, like like where the top of it is. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. In my imagination, this is taking longer than normal.
It was a gift from the TARDIS as well. It had like a blue light, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think this one was a pretty neat looking one. It could also be hooked up to his electric guitar because he was known to be rocking.
Bring it.
But yeah, I think the 12 is pretty cool looking. I still think that when it comes to 13, hers is pretty cool. Because in a way, she ended up making hers. Because she had her own sequence in which she made her own Sonic. That is pretty cool. At least I feel like that is pretty cool. That you end up making your own Sonic. So the woman who fell from Earth. So like instead of being given to one from the TARDIS, it was just she had to make it herself. It also did like a lot of things that like previous Doctors did. It scanned things, it opened doors, removed mobs, and played audio recordings. And in a way, basically, it just helped we can say, hey, here's a lot of moments where like storylines it can be used. I think the one that feels pretty cool the most is the 14th Doctor's, and that his Sonic is a pretty cool one in that it has a lot of moments that are pretty similar to like say previous Doctors. It has like the handle of the 11th Doctor. It has like the little blue crystal on as well, the claws. It also has a almost a little handle of 9 and 10. What Sonic did was that it was able to do a lot of things. Like it was able to create a force field. It was able to create charge the TARDIS as well. Which is awesome. You're able to charge the TARDIS using your screwdriver, but in a way that would also kind of feel like they would kind of like hurt the thing because you realize, well, I don't have my gadget to be able to do the things I need to do. I think it's all. But then we got to 15th. The 15th Doctor is quite a dramatic, different look when it came to others, in that it had more of almost like a Gallifreyan vibes to it. It had like almost like a remote control look to it.
Magnificent piece of Gallifreyan technology that helps the Doctor through all his scrapes and has lots of useful nooks and crannies to it. My favorite thing about the Sonic is this message that is written in Gallifreyan symbols, and it is a Rwandan proverb.
And it had like I do like the buttons when it made when it made a noise. That's pretty cool. What is your favorite Sonic screwdriver? See, I'm gonna get out of here now, I guess. See you later.